Hello, everybody. We all have heard about being patient is very, very essential for human being for several reasons. And it benefits us in many ways, mentally as well as physically. We will have a lot of control and we will have good mental health as well as physical health. Patience enables us to analyze things and situations beyond their face value. The resourcefulness, calm, and empathetic behavior and the self control of patient people can make them very, very successful and also popular. People like people with a lot of patience. And it also gives them an inner peace and the ability to keep smiling despite challenges. Once upon a time, there was a great king traveling alone through the unknown woods. In his kingdom, he wanted to know what people think about him. He does not want to just rely on what his ministers tell about what people talk about him, but he wanted to directly go interact with them and know about his ruling and what people talk about the king. So he traveled among his people to gather information directly from them and not from his advisors. So while going, what happened? Once he lost his way. So he was trying to come back. So he wandered here and there. And finally, he reached in the night a small hut. There was a lady in the hut and he knocked the door and the elderly woman opened the door. The king, being soaked and tired, asked kindly if he could stay for the night to get warm and maybe he could get something to eat. As he was waiting for the elderly lady to answer, already he stepped in and went into the house. The elderly woman angrily stopped the king. Why are you so impatient? I haven't invited you in yet. Then king apologized and explained that I'm so tired and I'm shivering with cold and I'm also suffering from hunger. Please, madam, please allow me inside. Then the elderly lady allowed the king inside and she accepted the apology given by him. The woman thought that the king was a soldier and from the army, from the kingdom. She thought he is one of these soldiers. And it wasn't that rare that lost soldiers who were returning from battlefields sought shelter in her hut. She gave the king some water to clean himself and some water to drink. She then spread a rug for him to relax, and after a while, she brought a bowl of hot rice and placed it in front of him. The king was so hungry that he quickly tried to eat the hot rice, but the food burned his mouth as well as his fingers. So he dropped the bowl of rice, breaking the bowl, and all the rice, whatever she cooked for him, fell in the floor. Again, the elderly woman and got annoyed, and quickly she said, unbelievable, what person you are. You are very impassioned, just like our king. When the king heard this comment, he was surprised. Oh my God, why she says that the king is so impassioned? Why do you think our king is impatient and hasty? He asked the old woman, because this is what he wanted to know, what people thought about him. Then the elderly woman smiled and began to explain to him, my dear boy, our king has a great dream of capturing all his enemies' strongholds. During this process, he ignores all these small friends of his enemy and tries to capture only the large forts. The king interrupted the old woman and said, that is good. What's wrong in that? So she smiled and replied, well, my boy, much like you're impatient with eating, where you burnt your fingers and wasted your food, the king also does the same thing with his impatience. He quickly defeat his enemy in resulting in his men in his army. Then he lost so many people in the battle. As a result, the king is losing the trust of his soldiers and his people. While on the other side, his enemy is becoming more confident with each fight. The king understood what the elderly woman was telling him, but he did not know what would be the better tactic to win the war. So he asked the elderly woman, "So, what do you think will be the better way the king has to act?" Now the elderly woman sat down next to the king and explained, "Well, first I would look over every map and make this strategy to slowly drain all the resources of the most strong forts of my enemy. You do that by taking away everything around them, which means the small villages, forts, and other settlements that are providing the strongholds with soldiers, which are supplied like information and everything else. As the enemy morale would slowly but sure decrease, I would then start attacking the center of my enemy's power, that being is strongholds. Soon, the strongholds that would be left would cool down and offer little or no resistance. The same goes with your bowl of rice, too. If you had simply been a little patience, if you had had, you would have started eating from the edges of the bowl. Then slowly, while eating the edges of the bowl, the rice, the middle rice, it will subside with its heat. And slowly, when you come to the center, the rice would be of a normal warmth or heat so that it will be easy for you to eat. So this is what is this strategy. She explained the king with an analogy, that was really mind-striking for the king. And he came home immediately, had a meeting with his generals and explained the strategy, now the new strategy after the king was victorious by following that strategy. So, what do we learn from this? When you want to achieve a very important and difficult goal, you have to be patient. Find out what it takes to achieve it and then work on it. So, working on it will definitely give you a solution to your problem, and you can also reach success.